Support for today's Heat Treat Radio episode is provided by Heat Treat Bootcamp. Learn all about this never-before-seen training at www.heattreattoday.com/bootcamp. And welcome to Heat Treat Radio. You'll notice that in this episode, Doug Glenn, publisher of Heat Treat Today, jumps across the table to share his new happenings in the industry. Heat Treat Bootcamp. What is it? When is it? And how exclusive is it? We're talking about this and more in this brief episode. So let's jump in. Well, Doug, you get to be on this side of the microphone, which is really great. Great to have you at Heat Treat Radio. And of course, as our audience knows, you're always up to something crazy, unconventional, very interesting. So why don't you tell us about this Heat Treat Boot Camp that you're concocting?
Yeah, thank you, Bethany. Appreciate it. It is good to be interviewed by you too. So yeah, Heat Treat Boot Camp. So this is an idea that came about over basically the result of years and years of being exposed to the industry and knowing that a lot of the new people in the industry, and also even some people with experience, would really like to know a lot more about the industry without having to spend 5, 6, 7 years just experiencing it, learning on the job, if you will. So the whole idea behind the Heat Treat Boot Camp is to cram basically 3 to 5 to 7 years worth of information into the heads of the attendees of the Heat Treat Boot Camp in basically a day and a half of classes. So it's a very condensed tutorial on the heat treat, North American heat treat market.
Nice. And I know I myself am eager to be a part of this and try to glean as much information as I can. But so when is it going to be? Have we determined those dates? Yeah,
we actually just signed the contract with the hotel. It will be on October 31st through November 2nd. And I do want to emphasize to people that October 31st, it just starts in the evening of October 31st. And that's kind of an optional reception. You can come, get comfortable, get in your hotel room, come down, have a few drinks and hors d'oeuvres with the rest of the Heat Treat community. The real education part starts on Tuesday, November 2nd. And we go a full day. And then that evening, we go out and do some sort of special, soon to be announced event in the evening where we have a little fun out on the town in Pittsburgh somewhere. And then we have a half day of classes on Wednesday with lunch, basically wrapping it up. Now we are considering adding a plant tour on Wednesday afternoon. Haven't determined that yet for sure, but that's a possibility. So basically all day Tuesday for classes, half day Wednesday for classes, and then you either go home or you decide to go with us on a plant tour if we end up providing that.
Nice. Now, and you mentioned a hotel. Are you willing to share which hotel it is, or is that going to be a surprise?
Yeah, no. I did forget to mention it. So it's going to be at the DoubleTree by Hilton, Pittsburgh, downtown. And what's kind of cool about this, it's right in the shadow of the U.S. Steel building. I mean, when you walk out the front door of this hotel, you look up, it's the U.S. Steel building. I think no place more appropriate for a Heat Treat Boot Camp than right in the shadow of the U.S. Steel building. So it's going to be very exciting. It's a great venue. Very, very nice people there. And I think everyone should enjoy it.
Yeah. And you're talking about these speakers too. Who are these speakers going to be? And I already know I'm looking at one.
Right. Well, yes, I am gonna subject most everybody everybody that comes is going to be subject to my speaking. Yeah, there are going to be about 7 different presentations. I think I'll be doing 4, and Thomas Wingens from Wingens International Industrial Consultancy out of Swickley, Pennsylvania, right, just a suburb of Pittsburgh. Thomas and I have known each other for years. Thomas will give the other more technical talks. Now, I do want to emphasize these talks are not going to be heavily technical. This is really going to be about the players in the industry, who are the companies in the industry that are making heat treat equipment and or ancillary products, who are the players, the products, the processes, the markets, and the materials. That's really the 5 main areas that we're going to be covering.
All right, that's great. And so I know you got into this at the beginning, but can you just go over for our listeners again, who is actually going to benefit? It's about the basics. yeah, I can get into that a little bit more, maybe the positions that people hold that would want to keep their eye out for this.
Yeah, good question. So the answer is basically it can be anybody that's in the industry that feels like they need to know more. But ideally, it will probably be new employees who have just recently started in the heat treat industry, typically employees of some of our suppliers or employees of commercial heat treaters. It can also be new people in our core market, our core listeners, or our core readers, our captive heat treaters in the aerospace, automotive, medical, and energy markets, as well as any other general manufacturing. They would also benefit by this. But I anticipate a large number of the people that are going to be coming are going to be people who are suppliers to the industry, who want to send their new employees, people who have maybe not so new, but would like to learn more about the heat treat industry and what it is they're doing every day. So those are the people. There is one other audience I will tell you about, which we may get some of these people, and that is an audience of investors and or investment bankers, if you will, or lawyers, people who are interested in mergers and acquisitions. This would be an excellent place for them to come to basically get the lay of the land for the North American heat treat market, who does what. And of course, Thomas and I will be around to answer specific questions as well, if people have specific questions.
Nice. Yeah. And it sounds like there are going to be a lot of people who want to learn something or are constantly learning and usually trying to navigate or in the middle of navigating that transition. So that's right. That sounds really great.
Right.
How is this training going to be different? You know, we're getting at this a little bit, but very clearly for our listeners, how is this different than any other training offered?
Right. So there is, I mean, I've been in this industry, in the North American heat treat market, for 30 plus years now. I'm sorry to say. You can tell by the amount of hair I have, but I've been in there a long time. There is nothing like what we're going to offer, because I know a lot of the different trainings that are out there. There's nothing like heat treat boot camp. It's going to be very much a basics, but it's not going to be the basics of metallurgy and heavy in the process information. It's really going to focus on the commercial side, if you will. You'll get enough of the technical side. We're going to explain things like heat. Where does it come from? How is it transferred? But we're not going technical on that. It's going to be very basic so that everybody can understand. You know, there are basically 2 or 3 places where heat comes from and how it transfers. There's basically 2 or 3 ways that heat transfers from place to place. So we're going to cover some of that. We're going to talk about the equipment that is used in the marketplace, everywhere from a box furnace, the most basic box furnace, up to some of the most sophisticated type of equipment that's out there. And how is it used? You know, induction. We're going to talk about induction heating. We're going to talk about air and atmosphere furnaces. We're going to talk about vacuum furnaces and all of the ancillary equipment that goes with it, right? Burners, heating elements, atmosphere, insulation and refractories. I mentioned atmospheres, either industrial gases and or on-site generation with endothermic, exothermic, or even on-site hydrogen generation. We'll talk about those types of things. Cooling systems, anything. We're going to talk about all those things and make sure people know on a very basic level, what are those things and where do they fit in to the heat treat? So there is no other seminar, webinar like boot camp. It is absolutely unique, and I'm really excited about it. I've been looking forward to doing this for years and years, and I'm hoping it goes well.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's great to hear, Doug. Thanks for sharing. So a lot of the basics, we're looking at terms, we're looking at people, we're looking at the major players, how everything in heat treat, the industry works together. So anybody listening, if you are thinking you want to attend, start gathering your questions now, because we will be, well, I won't be, that's for sure, but Doug and Thomas, they'll be addressing those coming up this fall.
That's right.
So Doug, how can people who want to sign up for this, or maybe just learn a little bit more, how can they find out that information?
Yeah, so you can go, it's very simple. The website, I'm sure it'll appear on the screen somewhere, here, there, down here. I'm not sure where it will be, but it'll be on the screen somewhere. It's going to be heattreattoday.com/bootcamp, one word, bootcamp. And registration should open up early April. So if this is beyond April, you'll know that it's open. It should be there, but it should be, easy enough. heattreattoday.com/bootcamp, and would love to see you there. I think it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be a great time. So I'm hoping to see a lot of people.
Great. Well, thanks for sitting down with us, Doug, and letting me be your host on this Heat Treat Radio.
You did great. Thank you, Bethany.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode with Doug Glenn. Heat Treat Radio is on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and the website www.heattreattoday.com/radio. If you'd like to learn more about Heat Treat Bootcamp, type www.heattreattoday.com/bootcamp into your browser to see all the info. You can also call Doug at 724-923-8089 or email either of us at Doug or Bethany at heattreattoday.com. Do you have a new or interesting idea that you want to hear discussed on Heat Treat Radio? If so, let me know. Also, if you'd like to sponsor a future episode, you can let me know at Bethany at heattreattoday.com. Just so you know, we're gearing up for Heat Treat Today's 40 Under 40 class of 2022. So if you know a young, hardworking heat treater in the North American market, now is the time to go to www.heattreattoday.com/40under40 promo, and you can find all the information you need there. We'd like to thank the Heat Treat Bootcamp that you've heard so much about today for sponsoring this episode. Again, this bootcamp is a great opportunity for new hires and old hires who want a refresher on how the North American heat treat industry works together. This and every other episode of Heat Treat Radio is the sole property of Heat Treat Today and may not be reproduced in part or in whole without advance written permission from Heat Treat Today. And I'm Bethany Leone. Thank you for listening.